Let's go. Welcome back to another post-game live edition of the Night Report podcast. I'm your host, Mike Broadbent. Joining me once again is my co-host, Richie O'Leary and Alec Crouthamel. Rutgers finds the most painful way to get off the schneid, snaps a four-game losing streak, gets its first win in Big Ten competition on the year, 27-24 on a walk-off Jay Patel field goal with no time remaining. Man, there's just like certain levels of agony that you feel as a Rutgers fan in wins and losses that just very rarely is replicated, I guess, unless you're a Purdue fan, which condolences. You guys played pretty well. We played pretty well. I mean, both teams, like, at least in some ways, deserve to win and lose that game at the same time. But before we get into anything regarding our analysis of the game, this podcast is presented to you once again by FanDuel. I did say I liked this game throughout the week when Rutgers was a 1.5 point or 2.5 point favorite. So I hope you tailed because we won a little bit of money today. I really like UConn today. I like Oregon today. And I like the over in the Iowa-Minnesota game. So if you wanted to throw a little cash on those games, feel free. All right. First blink test of the game. Richie, high-level thoughts.
KJ Duff is a future NFL superstar. It was ridiculous just watching him. Oh, yeah, I'm already halfway there. But anyway, Alex struggling for a beer right now. KJ Duff was phenomenal. I'm almost a little disappointed they didn't use him more towards the end of the game.
Look at that.
But I wanted to see the record break too. He was very, very close to breaking it. I think it was another 8 yards or 7 yards. To break Tyquan Underwood's record, which ironically the analyst, it was either Yogi Roth or someone else, was talking about how they talked to Tyquan this week about Rutgers, which kind of just funny how that works. But defense wasn't as bad as it looks, I guess, as weird as that sounds. There's definitely some big like F ups and big like what the hell just happened moments. There's a ton of.
I'm not gonna read out that comment, but CB, that is hilarious.
There was a ton of moments where it was like, what the hell is going on defense? But then there was also moments where you're like, oh shit, like they actually held their ground. So I mean, you can't take away those first 2 drives, but if you take them away, I was talking to Ryan, our writer, about this recently, and he even said it. If you take away those first 2 drives, defense kind of held their own. Now, mind you, there were some mishaps, like the wide open in the end zone 2 times, which was brutal. 12 guys on the field at one point. A lot of stupid shit just going on defense. But hey, win's a win. You found that way too quick.
Oh my God, this is hilarious. CB says, and I already know we highlighted it already, but we effing on the Rutgers bed tonight, and we are that poor angry inch that you're about to give your old lady.
Real quick, Alec, I don't want to cut you off. Mike, I'm going to cut you off though. So if you look at the numbers, first quarter defense gave up 169 total yards. The rest of the game, they only gave up 176.
Wow.
So,
and I mean, if you take, and this is not like an objectively fair way to look at it, but you take away like Purdue's 5 biggest plays of the day, they probably have 100 yards total offense. And obviously you can't take that away, but I think the defense did a decent job when they weren't allowing wide open touchdowns or massive big plays on outside runs. Alec, what's your high-level thoughts on how this game went?
Yeah, highlighting what Richie said, KJ Duff took over this game. I thought the defense looked a lot better on a down-by-down basis. The start was, this is 2 games in a row. Rutgers has come out slow to start after 6 straight games of it being the opposite. Rutgers coming out fast to start. But then they just kind of settled in. I mean, again, Duff just completely took over this game. I know you said, Mike, on your spaces that, there needs to be more KJ Duff involvement in this game. And he certainly took over. I mean, he was getting so much separation at the catch point. There were a few plays with some high degree of difficulty that only a guy like KJ Duff, who's 6'6", could get. And I mean, yeah, he just completely took over the game. And I mean, that the play that kind of turned the whole game around in that fourth quarter, I want to say Yogi Roth was talking about on the broadcast. You're taught to bat that ball down. And again, we talked about Farrell Nago forcing that fumble, just seeing some more guys out on the field. I still don't know how they did it, but they snapped the losing streak. And yeah, the what we said this a lot in the I guess the pre-game podcasting, everything coming up to it. The team that was in order to win this game, Rutgers needs to make fewer mistakes on both ends of the field, or whoever makes the last mistake is probably going to lose the game, and that's what ended up happening. Rutgers had its fair share of mistakes, certainly on the defensive end, but in the end, I mean, they were just able to come away with it, and I like that. Uh, there were certainly some things about the offensive play calling that left a little bit to be desired. Um,
Yep.
you know, considering some of the play calls, especially in the last 2 minutes, that second down run play. But I mean, Nathan Kaliakmanis pushed the ball down the field. He averaged I don't have my calculator in front of me, but 27 pass attempts for 359 yards. That is a high degree of average yards per play. He averaged 19 yards per completion at that. So um,
13.3 yards per attempt. Yep.
yeah, so definitely pretty high number there. They just found a way, and sometimes, I mean, granted, yes, that's two of the bottom level teams in the Big Ten going at each other. Sometimes you just make the fewest amount of mistakes, or you make the other team make the last mistake. That's how you come away with a victory.
Yeah, and I mean that's really what it was. Is Purdue made the last mistake because there were times in the second half where Rutgers could have kind of extended into the lead. Obviously the first one that comes to mind is that Antoine Raymond fumble. I mean, he had a really
Mhm.
nice first down that he picked up, and then was just, it's very uncharacteristic of him. He is not somebody who puts the ball on the turf. So you give him a pass because he played great too. He had 29 carries for 116 yards on the day. Sean Benjamin had a phenomenal day. He was very efficient, and the only blemish is that pass protection rep that he whiffed on, which you know caused a 2nd and 17 to be set up, and then Ethan got sacked again the following play. Ethan in the first like throughout the game, Ethan really did get more comfortable, but early on, he was seeing ghosts out there. He wasn't feeling pressure. He didn't have a good feel for the pocket. He had happy feet. He was kind of running into pressure, navigating into pressure, but starting with that KJ Duff long touchdown pass where both ends had beaten the tackles and he steps up and it looks like he's gonna get sacked again, but he gets hit as he throws, and it was a little bit of a wobbly throw, but it was on the mark. And I don't know what kind of busted coverage Purdue had in the secondary, but I mean, this is just like one of those grit wins where there's a lot to be learned from it. Not like last week where it was just kind of like, what are we supposed to learn from this kind of offensive tape? We just had too much pressure on us. We didn't really have any opportunity to make plays even when they were there. But I mean, this is a game that I feel like Rutgers could have won by like 17 points if they had played to their potential. The obvious ones are the missed field goal, the play that was batted down at the 4-yard line. I am typically a proponent for aggressiveness in terms of going forward on fourth. That did not feel like the moment to go for it though, because it was 4th and 4 in a 7-0 game. You go for those touchdowns in games where you need variance on your side. So if we were playing like Illinois, for example, next week, I would be 100% fine with that decision because Illinois is objectively a more talented team and we're on the road. Purdue, on the other hand, we probably could have won straight up if we had made some better decisions. I mean, we did win, but I mean, won by a bigger margin. What did you guys think overall of the offensive performance on the day before we switch to defense? And also, we should send out that link to everybody if they would like to join and go on stage as well.
Could do that in a
Alec,
second. Go. Actually,
yeah, Alec, you go first.
I would agree. It was a really slow start. Just things were not in sync. I would agree that Ethan kind of got rattled. I don't want to say it looked like he got rattled at times.
Yeah.
Especially that drive that, like you mentioned, Benjamin kind of whiffed on the pass pro, but then on the next play, Ethan holds the ball for like 6 seconds and takes a sack. You just got to find a way, especially in a second and long situation. You can't make a bad situation worse. And I felt like that was kind of what happened there. Even if there's coverage blanketed down the field, you just got to find a way to get that ball out and throw it away. But they somehow got in rhythm. Yeah, like you mentioned, I didn't even realize 543 yards of offense, 359 yards passing, and 184 rushing. Um, but yeah, they got going as the second half went on. Again, Antoine Raymond, even though he did have that crucial fumble, a lot of what we saw in the Minnesota game where they were opting to kind of do the inverse of certain situations, kind of catch the defense off guard, just running the ball. I thought they did do actually a really, really good job in the run blocking in terms of in the second half. I guess the one thing to look out for is what is the status of Taj White at right tackle. In the last
Yep.
couple of minutes, we saw Tyler Needham slide over to right tackle and Mo Giwa come in at left tackle. So, and it looked like White was at the very least somewhat seriously hurt because he really could not put a lot of weight on his leg after getting rolled up on. So that's something to look out for next week as well. Yeah, I guess on the offense, just pushing the ball down the field. I mean, there were a lot of deep shots down the field, even if they were not all converted. There was that one to DT Sheffield the second quarter where he just kind of misread it a little bit, slash had it go off of his shoulder. He had a step there as well. Obviously, we talked about the performance that Duff had. It felt like he was all over the field, wide open. I think on that long 72-yard touchdown, after I saw the replay, it looked like the safety just kind of barreled into his cornerback. I don't really know how or why he did that. Um, yeah, that was kind of what sprung free that long touchdown. Ben Black had a huge game as well. 4 catches for 56 yards, but even bigger in the situations. He had 2 fourth downs. Seemed like the biggest thing for him was just the situational awareness on those 2 fourth downs in the second quarter. He had he just found the soft spot in the zone, knew where he needed to be, knew where the sticks were. And then on that one in the fourth quarter, near the 2-minute warning, he just beat his man. Guy tried to jam him at the line, just beat him off press coverage with the slant and just got open and went right down after getting the pass. So, I mean, we don't know what Ian's strong status is for next week either, but I thought Ben Black did a pretty good job filling in as that secondary wideout with KJ Duff doing an unbelievable job as the primary guy.
Yeah, I can't disagree at all. He had 2 like third or fourth down conversions. I mean, Ethan, he needs to develop, a change up because he throws the ball so hard at his target sometimes that I'm surprised that some guys don't drop it. Like there was an early throw to Colin Weber. Both those throws to Ben Black on those slants to convert were really, really hard thrown balls. So credit to the receivers for catching them. But Rich, what did you think about the overall offensive performance? And then Steve and Caden, we see you guys in the queue. We'll have you on in a second here, one at a time. But
Yeah, it's tough because Alec basically just said everything. But no, yeah, I actually wasn't too impressed with the tackles, and obviously Taj White goes down and makes things even worse because now you're at tackle number 3 gone for the year.
Yep.
Tackle number 4, 3 gone. Yeah, so that's crazy. So that injury list is just going to add up. I know this is defense, but Al-Shadi Salam got hurt pretty bad too, got carted off. So this injury list just keeps growing every week. But offense, I mean, I thought everything operated pretty well. I love seeing Benjamin out there and doing his thing. Still questioned a couple weeks ago why they didn't use him more and they were using Sam Brown more, but it's just this stable of running backs. They just have dude after dude. And I know Raymond, we're not used to seeing fumbles ever because we were so greedy with Kyle Monangai for a couple years, but it happened. It is what it is. But offensively, the wide receiver room just continues to develop. Like Ben Black's finally starting to show something. Now, obviously, he didn't have snaps before. Now he's getting snaps to show off what he could do. But there were some blunders early on in his career last year where he was just dropping balls, it's hitting him in the helmet. And now this year, he was the fourth down guy today. And he secured a couple for conversions there. But third down, they have to fix a lot. It's still pretty bad on third down. I don't know if it's miscommunications or if just play calling has been a little bit questionable as well. But going
4 of 14 on third.
4 of 14 on third down is brutal.
Yep.
Now, obviously, they did convert on fourth down, 3 of 4, but still, you don't want to get to that down if you don't have to. So,
yep.
The DT Sheffield one I forgot about. Or actually, I think you actually mentioned it, Alec, where he should have had it, but kind of didn't. It is what it is. He missed on that. But other than that, like KJ Duff was just wide open. Like I don't know how you cover him if you're any team, not just Purdue. Like it's a 6'6" receiver that's not afraid to go up there and get it. Like it's very hard to cover a guy like that. I do wish they used him more in the red zone because the red zone offense is still very questionable, but I really can't complain. 543 yards. That's pretty damn good.
Yep, and we're going to bring our first guest onto the stage, Steve. Steve, what's going on, man?
Gentlemen, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you perfect. What do you want to talk about here, Steve?
First, thanks for bringing me on. Love your show, by the way. You guys do a great job covering Rutgers sports. Really outstanding and enjoyable. But you know what? On November 1st, Rutgers will be ahead of Penn State in the Big Ten standings.
Wow.
So no more Greg must go. We could lose that, but Rutgers will be ahead of Penn State, which is
Richie,
great.
that sounds like a screenshot for social media.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take that one and tweet that one out a little bit. But yeah, I forgot they're on a bye this week. So
this is big news. But obviously, Duff is going to play on Sundays. What a terrific game he had. 40 yards a catch, I believe, was his average, something like that. I mean, just
40.2
insane.
yards per catch.
Ethan was great. The defense, finally, I can't think of the defense coming up with a big play all year until today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like a game-changing play late in the game. Yeah.
And I think Patel also a good confidence builder with the game winner. I think he really needed that. I think that's a good sign. But guys, I had a question for you in kind of the Rutgers football rumor mill. If we're allowed to rumor mill here.
We are allowed.
By all means.
Okay. A contact of mine, and I'll leave it at that, heard that Schiano on last Monday, wanted to fire Rob Smith and was denied by Kelly. Not sure if you guys have heard anything like that.
So, I mean, I haven't personally, but I think in watching the game today, it was pretty clear that Rob Smith was no longer calling the plays. We told everybody to watch we were on a reader watch for Greg Schiano, and he had the readers on and he had the play sheet in hand. So that's a very interesting nugget you brought up there, Steve. Rich, I'll let you kind of handle this one since you're the one closest to the scene there.
Steve, you didn't message me this week, did you?
I did not. No.
Okay, I got the same exact message. I got the same exact message on Tuesday from someone else saying the same exact thing word for word, and I didn't even tell these guys because I was just like, "There's no way." Like Greg runs the program. Like he just has to. And I'm looking at it now. Was told Greg wanted to fire DC and was told no.
Yeah, it's been floating out there, but one last point, guys. I know you want to get back to the game, but one other point, sort of off the game today, is there's been so much, chatter and screaming, and Greg must go over the last few weeks. And man, I've been following this program since the mid '70s. I go back to '76 when Rutgers was undefeated and finished number 17 in the AP poll. We turned down the Independence Bowl that year, but it was following that season that Rutgers made a commitment to big time. That was the term back then. Big time college football. So in '77, we scheduled Penn State first game of the year. '78, Penn State first game of the year. We made the inaugural Garden State Bowl in 1978. Later on, we put Tennessee on the schedule, won on the road at Tennessee, almost beat Alabama at Giant Stadium many years ago. But, my point is this. Rutgers has been kind of chasing this elusive, big time, right? We're going on almost 50 years now. And when you think about what's required to be a big time program, in my mind, it requires 4 essential things. Number one, you need buy-in throughout the administration, from the Board of Governors to the president of the university, to the athletic director, to the coaches. Everyone shares the same vision. And on that first thing, buy-in, I would argue this year is the very first year in the history of Rutgers we've really had that. I've never seen anything quite like this. I recall when Greg started in 2001, his very first press conference, he talked about wanting to build a national championship caliber team at Rutgers. The press was literally laughing at the guy, right? But now we're hearing that from our new president. We're hearing it from Kelly. The Board of Governors hired these people, or were involved in the hiring. So we've got the buy-in thing, I think, checked off finally after nearly 50 years. Let's talk about the second thing, money. Money. Never, ever in history has the money been there for Rutgers. Never. And NIL, I get it. It's this new thing, all that. But money's been an issue since way back in the 70s. Way back. A buddy of mine played Division I basketball at Penn State in the 70s. He told me you could always tell when the football team got back in town, when the Cadillacs and Lincoln Town cars started rolling into State College, it was football season. The bags of money have been there forever, and Rutgers has never played that game. Facilities. You need world-class facilities, right? Are we there? We're partly there, but not at the level we need to be. And Mike, I see you shaking your head. I agree. More work needs to be done.
Yep.
And lastly, we've got the conference piece checked off. Great. But my point is this. People keep saying, fire Greg, fire Greg. I remember hearing it with Doug Graber. Get rid of Graber. Dick Anderson. Get rid of Anderson. He sucks. You end up with Terry Shea. The worst era. Terry Shea was worse than Ash, believe it or not. But my point is, you can't just fix it with a coach. It needs to be a whole of program solution that includes buy-in, money, facilities, and conference. And until you have that whole solution, you could bring Urban Meyer in here and he'd be doing the same job Greg is doing. Literally. Or maybe that might be a stretch a little bit. But you guys know where I'm going with this. So I know you got other people want to join the show, but I really appreciate what you guys do. And I just would love people to stop laying shade on Greg constantly.
Steve, you were one of our better callers we've ever had. Side note, you don't look like you've been covering or following the team since the 70s, so shout out to your parents for the genes. But definitely feel free to come join us anytime for a post-game show. I really like.
No, Mike, I appreciate it. Truth be told, I will turn 60 in December.
Wow.
I graduated Rutgers. Well, should have graduated in '88, but I took an extra semester. So my degree was confirmed in January of '89, walked with the class of '89. Back in the days when it was the old school Rutgers College graduation where they rang the bell at Old Queens and the whole thing, it was something. It was great.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, Steve. Thanks once again for calling in, but we do have some other callers in the queue.
Appreciate it.
Now. Thanks again, man.
Yep.
We got Caden joining us now. Caden, you still here, bud?
Yeah, I am. You hear me?
Sorry about last week. We tried to get you on. There was just a lot of issues.
Yeah, it seems like the servers were down. Maybe it had something to do with that Amazon shutdown or whatever.
Yeah.
You're not the only one with StreamYard issues, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's tough to follow up that call. I mean, there's 35 less years of, experience. Well, first of all, it feels really good to get a win. I mean, after the past 4 weeks, it's been tough. Coming off a week of school just to see your team get belt, that sucked. But KJ Duff, I don't know what our pitch is going to be to him this offseason. Maybe here's a bunch of money. Maybe it's, hey, this AJ Surace guy is going to throw you the ball a lot too. But, I mean, it's going to be tough holding on to him. I mean, it would suck if he went and played somewhere else in the Big Ten, but I could see it happening just because of how good he is. I mean, I know the responsible thing is to run the ball at the end of the game and just win. I would have thrown a screen to him, say, hey, get 8 yards, get that record. But, I mean, there's not enough good you can say about our receiver. Well, actually, DT just wrong shoulder. He should have had that for a home run. That was part of the reason we didn't run away.
He fell down on a route that he looked like he could have cut inside and scored a touchdown on.
I specifically remember that happened. And then obviously just he was looking over the wrong shoulder. Tough one there for the home run. I mean, the defense, they showed up in some capacity when it was needed. They obviously, I thought after that first quarter, actually, like, oh, geez, like after that 60-yard run, I was like, oh, no. I mean, what, we can't tackle this guy? Just like the running backs at Oregon. But they shaped up and got together. But I was more surprised about their bad communication. Purdue's, it can't be loud. Especially compared to other stadiums, it can't be loud. There's no way that we're like not hearing each other. That was just disappointing. Like going at Purdue and not having good communication. Obviously, like with that one touchdown, I believe it was like 13-10, start of the third quarter. That one where I forget who it was. He was just pointing at the receiver out wide. No one's on him. No one's on.
Jacoby.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how about this? You're on him now. I mean, you've got 10 guys over there on the other side. If they run the ball, I mean, sure, you're not on your assignment, but 9 other guys are in the area. It's your guy now. But I guess I don't know a lot about football, so maybe I'm just crazy. But I think, hey, no one's on. That's your guy.
You go.
Yeah, go ahead, Rich.
There was another receiver right there. Like he had to pick his poison, and unfortunately,
the receiver
he motioned. That's what I was saying.
He was on his own.
I thought Sweater was the second one.
But it's a great point that you don't necessarily need to be an X's and O's expert to know that on every touchdown there shouldn't be a guy within 10 yards of the player, because that's what happened. Every single touchdown they scored today, Richie, Alec, you, Caden, all could have thrown that pass and gotten those touchdowns. There was nobody in the area code of those guys to catch those touchdowns, and that is poor scheming, poor coaching, it's inexcusable for those things to happen. So while Greg Schiano is super emotional after the game, like we made so many bad plays on defense. Although
bad communication,
Yeah, it's just like you gotta we just have so many loose threads on this defense that we need to button up.
If we can't hear each other in Purdue, I mean, we can't hear each other anyway. We can't hear each other anyway. But
and one other thing that kind of set up that wide open touchdown to Nitro Tuggle on that drive, when they committed the pass interference, which I think was a good call because the cornerback took the guy down. Pre-snap, there's guys coming in and out. It didn't look like anybody was set at all. So I know you don't want to burn a timeout on the defensive end, especially in a close game in the fourth quarter, but everything was out of whack. And then obviously the 12 men on the field penalties tacked on as well. Everything was just completely out of whack. And that's a thing that we have seen them deal with all year long as well. It didn't look like, at least on that play. And I think it was a little bit better as the game went on. That play notwithstanding, it just did not look like they were at all organized for certain stretches.
Yeah, no, that play specifically is like the perfect encapsulation of like what's wrong with this defense, because that was like a third and gotta have it situation late in the game,
and you just blow it,
Yeah, not only like did you not have the guys lined up correctly, but also like
12 guys on the field.
You're committing a penalty. Yeah,
that was ridiculous. But I mean, also you got him credit for the splash play to end the game. Like he said, like Steve said, first splash play you can remember this year. It was good. I mean, it led to the big win, and like turning around. Hopefully, it can be similar to, was it last year where we lost 3 in a row, and then we're able to
4 in a row last year.
4 in a row last year, yeah. I don't know, but I think, as far as the future, it's clear. You have to beat Illinois and you have to beat Maryland, because, I mean, I don't even know if I want to turn that Ohio State game on. That's going to be
that's
terrible.
Gonna be hard to watch.
Yeah, we might be getting the first quarter and then go do something else. And then obviously Penn State, I forget if that's home or away. It probably won't matter, even though they play it. They lost to Iowa, and we played a close game, but that's not a good way to evaluate teams. So, I mean, I don't see us winning that game unless they're totally checked out.
I think they will be totally checked out. It'll be their 5th game in 5 weeks. Penn State coming up here. They play Ohio State and Indiana in back-to-back weeks. And then they have to play, I think, Michigan State on the road. They have to play Nebraska at home, and then they play us on the road. So,
yeah.
I mean,
so maybe
they could be coming in 4 and 7. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's maybe a chance of something there, but the preaching should be beat Illinois, beat Maryland, and that's your path.
The goal, I'm sure, for the coaching staff all year has been get to bowl eligibility before that final bye when you have Ohio State and Penn State coming up, because before the season, I'm sure that they thought they didn't really stand much of a chance against Penn State. Obviously, that has changed a bit. What were you going to say, Rich?
No. Penn State's pretty banged up too. Like they're starting their top linebackers out, their quarterbacks out. So you have a pretty solid shot, I feel like, in that one, especially because it's the last game of the year. I think a lot of dudes are just like, fuck this, I'm done. Like I'm out.
Yeah, that could be possibility. They might even be starting one of the DBs that went to my high school. It might be that bad. So like yeah. Anyway, I'm out of things to say, I guess. But really, it's just like win these next 2 games. I think I don't know what's going on with that Illinois and Washington game right now. If someone could check that, it'd be good. But
Yeah,
it
so
would,
Washington's winning 7-3 and
yeah,
2 minutes left in the first quarter. Washington has the ball.
yeah. Like we could maybe get something out of that and say, hey, we played a game against Washington that was closer than the scoreboard suggested, and maybe we could base our chances off of that. But that's all stuff you never want to base your chances off of. Oh, how'd they do against some other team?
Yep.
So that's really all I got. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for joining in, Caden, and thanks for donating last week. I really appreciate it. But
Of course.
I'll see you in a bit.
So
let's.
I found that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
found that play at 3rd and 8. Like when there's 12 men on the field. O'Fury is the one that came in and no safeties came off. And somehow Kaj Sander was out of frame, but he was on the ground. And like no one even near him. I don't know how he fell, but
That's
I
why
noticed that
all this-
Fury was on the field. I was like, I was wondering why he was out there, and I thought when the safeties was coming off, he was just coming to the box. Yeah, I would love to see if there's any all 22 available. What the heck happened on that play?
well, oh, hold on. I got everything right here. Like you could see, here's the like everyone checking in, right? Like or the last minute sub, I think it was. Yeah, see. Levy left. Miller looked like he was going to sub, but he ended up covering the outside, I think. Or Miller did sub. And then it's like very weird. And then you got 12, of course. And then on this very next one, everyone just ignore all the videos I took. And then obviously, like O'Fury's it gets pushed to the edge at some point. How? I don't know how. Jordan Walker's lost. There's legitimately one defensive lineman with their hand on the ground right now. like I don't like what is this? This is just like a colossal thing. And then like if you watch in the end, obviously Masco. Hold on. Like Masco does the pass interference, but how did Kaj Sanders fall? Like
I don't know.
I mean, to be
that's
fair,
what I'm trying to figure out. Like there's no one even near him.
I have a feeling this Purdue field might have had a little bit of issues because there were guys slipping and sliding all over
Yeah.
the place.
Yeah,
there
of
were.
course.
So it might
anyway.
have just been a field issue.
Let's
Crazy play.
discuss this defense a little bit because we haven't really gone into that. A lot of the numbers don't look terrible. Rutgers didn't get any sacks on the day, no interceptions, but they did hold Purdue to 1 of 9 on 3rd downs. Purdue did convert 2 of 2 4th downs. Only 345 yards of total offense. That includes 128 yards passing, 13 of 23 on the day for Purdue. They did have 217 yards on the ground, which is 7.8 yards per carry. That obviously isn't ideal. This is like the definition of bend but break sometimes because we saw those big plays. We talked about 4 or 5 of them kind of made the day for Purdue and those wide open touchdowns. So, I mean, we played like half of good defense. So maybe that's what Greg Schiano was alluding to with the changes. But ultimately, like, we didn't really see that many personnel changes. Like we saw a little bit more of Sam Robinson at linebacker, who definitely flashed at times. Shorty before he got hurt, was playing more. What did you guys see that was different about this defense than weeks past, though? Because I was, other than Greg calling the plays, I struggled to find anything that was different.
I mean, different personnel a little bit because Ganago played more. Djibril Abdul-Rahman played a lot more. We've been preaching this one for fucking weeks now. Like the guy's gotten the most pressures like in the past couple of games, and it's just like he plays like 10 snaps a game. It's like maybe I don't know, play him more. But Ganago at that tilted nose, or Matt Millen's favorite nickname for it, the cock nose. See more of that. But other than that, it didn't seem like there was a whole lot different. Now maybe I'm missing something, but it was just a lot more rotating of guys. Like DJ Allen got in game. And he hasn't played at all.
True. Noticed that, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it was just like the things that we kind of saw the guys who are rotating in just on a more often, I guess. Like some of those guys are rotating, got more and more snaps. Sam Robinson, I saw, made a pretty solid play as part of a bunch of guys getting into the backfield on that goal line stuff that Hey, Rutgers won by 3. That goal line stand back in the first quarter that prevented the game from going 14-0, keeping it at 10-0. Pretty big play in the long run. I thought Barry Odom really should have gone for it. I thought Purdue also made some coaching blunders as well in terms of decision making. I thought they were a little too conservative at times, but Rutgers ended up taking advantage. So yeah, it was just, and again, a lot of the same issues that we saw, like the message here from Cincinnati is saying, and then all like even some of those big runs, just because some of the defensive linemen or guys on the edge are just not taking good angles or biting too far inside or hesitating or something like that. So yeah, we're just seeing a lot of the same issues. But at the very least, on a down by down basis, I felt like they were better in terms of just swarming for the ball, containing. It was either I thought on I forget who said it on the broadcast, but I thought they put it well. It's either big plays, 60, 50, 60-yard plays, or you're fighting to get even a blade of grass. That's what that game felt
Yep.
like. So in terms of just a down on down basis, I felt like the defense looked better. But these big plays, they have to clean them up somehow, because it's like it's one thing if you're giving up like 20, 30-yard plays and those are your big plays, and it is what it is. Sometimes you're going in the Big Ten offense, you're gonna give those things up. But like for Rutgers, the big plays are absolute catastrophes. That's what has to change. The absolute catastrophe plays. They have to try to contain those into just the 20, 30 yarders that you can recover from.
Yeah, and it feels like it's the same veteran leaders that continue to make these big mistakes. Like we've said enough about Kosh Sanders in the past. He actually made a few nice plays today, so I do want to shout him out. He had a really nice play on I believe
Mhm.
a second and long that forced
The
a
hit
third
on
and long.
Maccabee.
The hit on Maccabee. Yep, the
Like
one that
shoelace
actually
tackle.
knocked him out of the game as well. So
Yeah.
doubly nice for him. Not that you want to see any guys get hurt, but he was tearing us up. Cam Miller was the victim of the day that they kept targeting, because in the run game, these nickel corners are the ones that are supposed to cover the outside run gap. And if you watch the tape, our defensive line continually just kind of gets blown off the ball. So they're able to kind of Purdue's offensive line was able to push our defensive line in whatever direction we wanted them to, and then our linebackers don't have enough um, have enough speed to catch up to
Mhm.
to the running back unless they make a perfect read on the ball. And then our nickelback or our safety in those situations are biting inside. So there's just nobody there on these outside runs. And that's what we saw time and time again. We've seen that all year. And that's honestly, for Power 4 football, that's fucking day one shit. You have to come into school and be able to do that. And the fact that these guys continually can't do that is an indictment on them as players, but also an indictment on the coaching staff. You can't like get that through to a fifth-year senior that you need to be disciplined in this situation. And how do you not get that through your head? Like, it's just, I don't know. It's different, like in theory and in practice. Like, you can do all the training you want for battle, but when you're in the heat of it, it's a different story. But they talk about trusting their training all the time, and either their training sucks or their listening skills suck or their coaching sucks. And there's probably a little bit of everything to that, because I'm so sick of seeing these outside runs just go for 20 plus yards repeatedly.
I mean, their rushing attack, they had a long, Maccabee had a long of 32. Thomas had a long of 57. Harris came in, their third running back, and had a long of 37.
So all
Too
three
many
of their
chunk
backs
plays.
had 30 plus yard runs. That's unbelievable.
Yep, absolutely insane. And then and even the receiving game too, like a long of 44, long of 15, long of 18, long of 17, long of 15, and it's like, oh shit, like those are just chunk plays. Like you got to stop it.
And you know what? I don't know why this didn't come to me, but that Jordan Walker, Farrell Ganago, like double team there at the end, I was thinking this reminds me so much of a play that happened recently, and it was that Robert Longerbeam tip pass interception at the end of the Virginia Tech game, where the defense had really struggled all second half to stop Virginia Tech, and then they just made that one play that they needed to make in order to salt the game away. And that's the same thing that happened here. They did not really have a big play on defense until you needed it most. So shout out to the defense for getting that at
That
the
one
end.
also bookended by 2 Jay Patel field goals to tie and win the game.
Yeah.
True.
Humata Placet, once again, as we freestyle your name, thank you again, as always. A little something for your efforts. Bowl hopes still alive, and season total bet. Yes, they are still alive. There's probably 3 more games we can win on the schedule now that we're 4-4. There's 4 games remaining, so we'll see. Not that we'll get the line probably tomorrow morning or later tonight on the Illinois game. But
Oof.
what do you guys think? Be a 9.5 point favorite underdog at least?
It's at Illinois, so count that for 3 right there.
I think right, like you said, Mike, depending on how this game goes today against Washington, I think if they lose that game, I'll say 6.5. If they win, I'll go, like Richie said, about 8, 9.5.
I think 9.5 is probably fair. A lot of people are still going to doubt Rutgers because and rightfully so. I mean, it. Don't be wrong. I don't want to hate on a win, but it was Purdue.
Yep.
So
I do want to thank
Vegas will doubt.
Daniel McGuire here too with the $10 donation. Thanks so much. He said, "Good job, guys. Really appreciate you. Thank you for the shout out." HGJG says 12.5. See if that ends up being the case. Rich, I don't want to put you on Greg press conference watch.
Oh yeah. I got you.
If you want to check that out. Special teams, we'll talk because we haven't discussed it yet. Another disaster. Jay Patel misses the 46-yard field goal attempt, and it wasn't even close. Like that, you could have lined that up for 20 yards, and he wasn't making it. That was just wide left from the start. In a situation where Rutgers could not allow a big return late in the game, they allowed a return down to the Rutgers 40-yard line, a 55-yard return. And then that forces you to pooch kick that kickoff right before they threw that, or before the fumble recovery by Rutgers, where they got the ball at like the 33-yard line because they could not risk kicking it deep to their returner. And on a punt block, nothing really even came close. Like they were going for punt block all game, but Purdue had this like little like wall in front of their kicker, or in front of their punter. I'm sorry, that held up each time. Special teams, yeah, you're not getting a game ball today. We'll say that. Despite,
Michael Jackson, man, thriller.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was. I was wondering. We were told that Jack Scullion is the special teams, the touchback weapon, and since then he's just kind of struggled to fully drive the ball through the end zone. Since that, I guess it was Norfolk State because they scored 7 touchdowns that game. Yeah, I wasn't totally in agreement with that one either.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
he boomed every kickoff last week.
Yeah,
and I guess
you sent it in the chat, right?
Mhm.
You're like, oh, he's back. Look.
Yeah.
I guess for Patel, I guess his thing now, like he's gotten better at putting some air back under the ball. I guess now his thing is, on that left hash, he just struggles to angle it right. I guess the thing that sticks out when you're on the left hash versus the right hash, when you can't really drive through the ball as much because then you're going to push it left, and that's exactly what happened. So you could also tell on that last drive after the fumble that they were either going to put it on the right hash, or they were going to put it right smack in the middle because of where they were running the ball as well. So I don't know how you fix that, how you fix your mechanical adjustments, the way you swing through the ball. I'm not a kicking guy. I don't know, but it just looks like that left hash is a problem for him.
I think it's confidence too. Like once you start hitting them, it's like, all right, like that end of the game is probably huge for him going into future games and even next week, just because it makes such a difference confidence wise.
Because he set a career high last week. That was the crazy part.
Yeah. It's, I want to say 50% mental, if not more than that. Like his legs there, like you saw it on the 46-yarder or miss, but it's just I feel like it's a mental thing more than anything. But that's just opinion.
Yeah, and we had heard from early in the preseason that like they have a deep field goal guy. They have Patel, and we saw that play out in the Minnesota game, but they know his limitations. He doesn't have a big leg, and when you don't have a big leg, it forces you to overcompensate in certain situations. Like I'm sure he feels like he has to put more oomph into the ball when he's kicking from that deep, which is obviously at the sacrifice of accuracy. But like you said, Alec, that was huge for his confidence, even though it was like a 30-yard field goal at most. To see that go through the hoop, to hit that kick with time expiring, it's got to do a lot, not only for him, but the whole team in general.
I'm glad Cincy Knights said this because look at the injury report. Those are all special teamers. Dane Partridge, Dino Calic-Manis, Dylan Braithwaite, Davon Fuse, Chris Joins were all on special teams this year at some point. Maybe not Davon Fuse.
Dino is the guy on special teams. He's the main gunner that goes down and hits people.
Yeah, and they don't have any of them. So, or had none of them stay, I should say.
Any update on the Greg presser?
Still nothing yet. Kind of just sitting here waiting. Side note: Lane Kiffin's talking shit to Oklahoma players, which was funny.
Is he?
Yeah, David Stone went up to him after the game, like as he's doing the presser with whoever ESPN reporter is, and he's like, "Yeah, you're a lot quieter than you were earlier in the week." And it's like, "Oh shit!"
Wow.
Yeah, Florida's future head coach right there.
We have another donation here from CB. First Purdue 60-plus yard run was the slowest human ever. It was unreal to watch him burn us. Go RU, Uniwatch. I don't know what Uniwatch means, but yeah, it seems like a...
Oh, that's the Rutgers Uniwatch guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Shout out Connor.
Yeah, it was there was a few big plays like that where it just like, how is this person this wide open? How is nobody even closer to him? And then you see our DBs just getting like Velcroed downfield, which brings me to another fucking point that I was blown away by. Purdue is one of the most penalized teams in the Big Ten. The last 5 games for them. Last week against Northwestern, they had 5 penalties for 98 yards. Against Minnesota the week before, 9 penalties for 71 yards. Illinois the week before that, 8 penalties for 61 yards. Against Notre Dame the game before that, 7 penalties, 75 yards. And against USC the game before that, 5 penalties for 60 yards. Anybody want to guess how many penalties they had today? Put up both hands, make circles. 0 for 0. They did not have a single penalty called. There was a bunch of times where I texted you guys. I was like, how is that not a hold at the end there? Oh, what's up, Alex?
Is that a what is that? A D'Imperio jersey?
That's a D'Imperio jersey. Yeah.
Wow, that's a.
I guess it's been repurposed into a Jay Patel jersey now. I guess for his performance today.
Put some tape over it, right in Sharpie.
Oh, it doesn't have a name on the back, so even better.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And to me, that just didn't sit well. That they had no penalties called on them, despite we had one penalty that could have changed the game against us with that totally phantom kick catch interference call that like even Mike Pereira was Mike Pereira is he's like watching a cop defend a cop up there. Not to say anything about Leo's in the audience because love what you guys do and respect the hell out of you, but he was just he'll normally defend other referees to the end, and he immediately was like, yeah, I don't agree with that call, that was a bad call, I don't see any interference, he was the one who initiated contact, blah blah blah. So just unbelievably bad call there.
Yeah, and the thing with kick catch interference is it's not just the it's not just the contact. There's also, I believe, a 1 yard cushion that you have to give the return man in order to make the return. And I mean, like you said, he kind of initiates the contact. Miller's trying to get out of the way, and he sticks his arm out to push it. I couldn't tell for sure if he was in that 1 yard gap. I'm gonna assume Michael Jackson's wingspan on one arm is his reach on one arm is not 3 feet. So it looked like he might have been inside that 1 yard mark. So it's would also initiate the contact. The rule's a little murky, so I couldn't quite tell.
It's just a crazy call. Like he didn't touch him. Like he did everything right, and he still gets screwed over.
Yeah, I was trying to. I was also looking up in the NCAA rule book, but the problem was the NCAA rule book didn't really have a concrete rule. At least the one that I found on Google, it was all just like scenario ruling, and none of them gave like the one that we were looking at because it was a weird play that doesn't happen very often. So I don't know.
If I had to guess, that's what the Big Ten is going to say back to Greg when he just submits this one, because he's probably got a couple of things he's going to submit, like as per usual.
I was on my way back because I was on the broadcast for the Rutgers swim meet today. I was on the drive back from Rutgers, and I was listening to the radio broadcast, and Anthony Fusilli said that he was told by the Rutgers sideline that they were arguing it should not have been a kick catch interference because, like you mentioned, Michael Jackson was the one that initiated the contact. It was not Miller that was getting in his way. It was Jackson that was like inching over towards him while Miller was trying to back up and stuck his arm out and got in the way.
And I'm sure Greg had a nice little chat with the referee right after that one.
Yeah, and wasn't it the play afterwards? I forget which play it was, but Purdue ended up going 3-and-out anyway, so it didn't ultimately end up mattering that much in the grand scheme of things. I forget, was that the first down where Brown threw a deep bomb and it was like woefully short?
I don't know actually. It's a good question.
Yeah, this was so much emotion out of Greg after we won that game.
Yeah, not just the players that were slipping and sliding on the field. Greg did it too.
He was definitely. I shouldn't say probably definitely. He was definitely feeling the pressure after this one. You can't lose to Purdue.
It reminded me a lot of his reaction after that Maryland game all the way back in the COVID year when they won that game in overtime. Just overcome with emotion. I think they had lost 4 straight games at that point as well. So just he talks a lot about the guys that are giving it their all into week by week. They give it their all for that week. Obviously the Purdue season, you could definitely see there on the sideline.
Yeah, did you see Purdue hasn't won a Big Ten game since Tom Allen's last game in Indiana? Tom Allen's had 2 jobs since then.
So Ryan Walters was a 1-year wonder?
Yeah, I guess so, right?
Yeah. I mean, he was there. I mean, yeah, because they weren't great, but they were expected in a year 1 Big Ten coach in his first year. And then the second year, everything just completely fell flat apart.
Collapsed. Yeah.
Well, because Purdue won games in 2023. So I think so they won their last game of 2023. So he was there 2 years.
Yeah, in that last game, Tom Allen in Indiana.
Well, that wasn't Tom Allen though. Ryan Walters was the head coach that year.
Someone said it was Tom
Indiana.
Allen. Yeah, to Indiana.
Tom Allen was
Indiana.
To Indiana. I'm sorry.
Yeah, to Indiana. No, yeah, to Indiana. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they went 4-8 in Walters' first year, which not very good, but again, it's the first year head coach. 4-8 is not terrible, especially for Purdue. They won 3 Big Ten games. But it seemed like down the stretch last year, or for a lot of the year, I should say, he was going to keep his job, and then things just went so far off the rails that they had no choice but to move on.
Do you want to shout out Stephen Hickson by name here? Thank you so much for the donation. Rutgers ahead of Penn State in the Big Ten standings. That is going to be a fun graphic to tweet out for sure after this weekend.
Yeah. Head of a couple people, actually. I forget how bad the Big Ten's been in conference this year.
Dude, it is. You're either over in the conference or you're like 2-2 or 3-2. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huge upper middle class in the Big Ten right now.
And probably tied with a newly minted Big Ten rival, Maryland, as long as that one goes according to plan.
Damn, Iowa beating Minnesota with 12 minutes left in the second quarter, 24-0. So hopefully you got that over in that game, because that over under was, I think, 38.5. Jeez.
Yeah. Still no luck on the presser. I'm assuming Schiano is probably dancing with these guys in the locker room, because that's all they keep tweeting.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Schiano's dancing videos from the locker room are always fun. Yeah. Wow. Iowa just scored again. So they're up 31-0 now. Punt return by Caden Weegan. We remember that name.
Oh, yeah.
What haven't we covered yet, guys?
Oh, we didn't really talk about it because we saw it in the chat and you highlighted it. Ian Strong and KJ Duff returning, not returning. Lenny kind of hinted at that one. I feel like Lenny might be the best source out of everyone on that, considering he's seen these guys since they were infants. But yeah, Ian Strong, I'd be shocked if he returns. But KJ Duff, I do think they'll have a good shot of retaining him for another year, at least. Maybe.
Because you also have to remember this, guys. Like, it's the devil that you know is the devil you don't. Like, he knows the situation he's walking into next year. He's going to be the undoubted wide receiver 1. He's been able to put up a ton of great tape. He's going to be able to play against the best competition in the country, going against Big Ten defenses. And you got to think he's probably pretty confident in what he's got in AJ Surace. I mean, he's thrown with him for several years now. He knows what he's got. He knows what he's getting. Like, he's got 2 former NFL wide receivers coaches to learn from, Kevin Brock and John McNulty. Like, there's not many better situations you could be in. If it's purely a money situation, Rutgers probably can't match the highest whatever he's going to get offered. Like Rutgers is never going to be the biggest offer on the table for a kid. But I do think in the, the advent of the revenue sharing and with the NIL support, I think we're going to see this offseason. I don't think money is going to be the reason he leaves. Let's just put it that way. They're going to have a very good offer for him to stay with the team next year.
On top of it all, he's been in the same offensive system for how many 2 years now? It's going to be 3 years with Kirk, because I highly doubt Kirk's going to get a head coaching offer. And that's not a knock on Kirk. It's just he's a little bit older. He's pretty content where he's at. The only job I thought he might have left for was Temple, but they obviously went a different route. They did interview him for the job, and he's a Temple alum for those that don't know. But to have the same offense and basically just run the same, no, I shouldn't say run the same, but run a lot of the same patterns that you're already running. Like you don't have to relearn an entire new offense in a matter of 6 months from transferring to getting to your new place, which is going to have a totally different system. So,
and that's the magic number with Shiraka, the 3-year thing that everyone talks about as well.
Yep.
It'd be different if it was the old school like Rutgers offense where they're going to run it up the gut 60% of the time, whereas it's a pass offense now too. Or they have a nice complementary football, baby.
There you go. I want to shout out George Forbes for the $20 donation. George, thank you very much. That is always appreciated. I want to shout out also our sponsor, FanDuel, because we are supposed to do 2 of these per pod. I gave you guys what I thought were 3 winners. It looks like at least one of them's in great shape. UConn's also winning at halftime, 21-17. Tomorrow, cover your ears, Giants fans. I think tomorrow is the comeuppance. I think Philly is going to put the belt to the ass of the Giants at home. 7.5 points is not enough. I do like that a lot tomorrow.
I'm going to make excuses already. Our top corner's out. Our top safety's out.
AJ Brown's out. I don't want to hear it.
Oh, yeah, that guy that gets 2 targets a game. No, he had a lot last week, actually. I watched that game from start to finish. He's yeah, I mean, Deontay Banks, he's going to have to cover one of your receivers. It's going to be a joke.
Lenny also is chiming in here. Shout out to Lenny. He says, I honestly think Duff sneaks into the end of the first round after next season as the primary wide receiver at Rutgers. He might lead the Big Ten in receptions. For those who don't know, Lenny is very close to the Long Island football scene. I think he coached KJ when he was in Pee Wee football, so he knows the family well. So I think that's a pretty good indication that KJ is probably going to stay.
I'm looking way too far ahead, but would they get another receiver to complement KJ Duff on the other side? Or you trust Ben Black again?
No, we've seen so many flashes from our young receivers that I really think that we have, as long as we can keep all those young guys, I think we got the stables pretty deep right now. I saw Jordan Houston playing today. Middle of the third quarter. So
I wouldn't be opposed to getting kind of like a DT Sheffield, or even a Dymere Miller, veteran slot guy who has a lot of college football under his belt, just in case some of those guys aren't totally ready yet and they can kind of get eased into the, Big Ten offense for their second year. But yeah, I agree. A guy like Ben Black should probably be one of the focal points in the passing game. So yeah, I would agree.
Lenny also says KJ's mom really loves Rutgers and that he thinks Ian Strong is going to the NFL. So, I mean, just we've said you typically, if you're a top 50 to 75 draft pick on big boards, you're probably not coming back regardless of where you play. So unless you're a quarterback, that is, if you're, 49th on a big board and you have years of eligibility left, it's in your interest to come back as a QB. What else we got as we wait for Greg Schiano's presser?
We touched on
PFF,
it. Go on. You go on.
I was going to say as of PFF, the draft big board's latest update, which I don't know how often I'm assuming it's every week, Monday, Tuesday, whatever. He's ranked at 42nd on their big boards. That's a pretty good indication, probably headed to the NFL if I had to guess, and it would be smart to do that.
It'd be crazy not to, right? And I think that also helps KJ Duff too. And helps him with his decision to say hey, Ian Strong just got drafted pretty high. Yeah. And I think we said it last pod or a couple pods ago, KJ Duff's ceiling is higher. Now he has to reach that ceiling still, but he flashed a lot today to show that. So,
and I mean, his height, it's funny, his height will be held against him a bit because teams always look for archetypes and look for templates on players. Not many 6'6" receivers that have had a ton of success in the NFL. And KJ, some guys who are 6'6" kind of like, do you remember Mario Urrutia from Louisville back in the day? He was about that size, but he just had like beanpole arms. But you look at a guy like Brandon Coleman at Rutgers, he has a similar frame to KJ in terms, like, I think Coleman was a bit more cut, but KJ has a very sturdy frame. Like he is not by any means, a beanpole. So I think he's got the frame to be an NFL receiver. And I mean, do you remember that high school tape he had? I mean, we've seen a ton of circus catches from him. Do you remember that crosser he had that he one-handed about a centimeter off the turf coming across the middle?
Yes.
That was one of the craziest catches I've ever seen. So it's not like it's something he's developed overnight at Rutgers, those one-handers. He's just got incredible hands.
And I will say we're going a little bit more off topic here, but I will say this is something that I heard on the Ringer Fantasy Football show, that sometimes people just kind of overthink the draft at times.
Yeah.
Like if the draft they had their take was like, if the draft was like February 20th instead of April 20th, things would probably go a lot different because people talk themselves in and out of certain things. So yeah, I think just the frame, the athleticism, like not only is he getting a lot of these plays in traffic, but he was getting a ton of separation off the line of scrimmage as well. And that helps with his frame because, even if defensive backs decide not to press him, you get him going over the middle because they're scared of getting beat over the top. You can even get even more separation. So yeah, I'm, looking at what we're seeing here. I mean, whether he comes back, if he does come back next year, which it looks like he probably will, at least from what, we're gathering so far, there's a lot to gain for him in terms of just growing as number one option. And we're seeing it in flashes, like against Norfolk State as well. He went off, granted, against an FCS defense, but even then he showed a lot as a number one guy.
I think it was this one. Yep.
I found it too. Yeah.
What a crazy grab there.
I've never seen a catch like that in high school, college, pros. If you're not watching it, KJ is running across the middle on a slant, and the ball is really poorly thrown. Just to say, he scoops it off the turf. How high above the turf would you say that ball was when you caught it?
I'm gonna
half
try
an
to pause
inch.
it. Like, yeah, that's insane. Actually,
if that, maybe even less. Yeah, that's like half an inch off. That's grazing the field. Honestly, if we had replay, they might have called that incomplete.
Here's a here's a link that they zoom in on how low that ball was when he got it.
How do I pop that up? You might have to do it on your end.
Oh, I got you. Yep. And we're just,
Oh, Harvard quarterback. Oh, Dante Torres. I forgot about him.
Yeah, Dante. He was very good as well. That was like a rare bad pass from him. Look at that.
That's how high the ball was off the turf when he caught it.
Even after they zoomed in and paused, it was still just like going down a little bit more. Like, yeah, that was crazy.
The other thing I was going to mention before injuries, it seemed like Taj White got pretty banged up pretty bad. Interesting to see Tyler Needham go back to right tackle. Mashu Giwa went in at left. They're very high on him, and he's going to have to play a lot sooner than they thought.
And it's kind of a, shit or get off the pot for a lot of these guys, because Mashu Giwa, I mean, he was an FCS All-American at Long Island last year. Justin Cesare was an All-American at the D2 level. He's got no eligibility left, so if you're going to make an impact, it's time to do it, man.
That one's a weird one because me and Alec have debated this one. We're trying to figure out Cesare might actually have a year left.
Yeah, we've been trying to figure that out because
Yeah.
he did after his time at, I think we went to Orange High School, I think. He did a
Orange, yeah.
post-grad year elsewhere, and he was a member of the 2022 class, I believe, or whatever class would let him have another year here, because he had a prep year.
Now, if Giwa becomes a dude, you'll have Giwa, Asamoah, Dante Chinback, Taj White comes back. Yeah.
So he must be redshirt. Yeah,
he redshirted. Zawinskis, the other Zawinskis brother, is going to be in the center. Like you'll have Chin as a potential guard or tackle. You'll have Langsdale potentially if he comes back too to fight for the tackle. So you'll have a lot of good pieces. And then you also brought in what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 freshmen, 4 freshmen.
Yeah, to clarify, Langsdale still hasn't. I don't believe they've had any talks or anything like that with him, so he hasn't made that decision yet.
No, we actually had this talk with someone, and they said they're going to have those talks with him, with CJ Campbell as potentially another year to come back, and they'll all talk around that second bye week, mid-November, early November.
About if they want to come back or not.
Yeah, basically figure out what you guys want to do, like what's your plan, because portal's coming up, we got to figure it out.
He was actually helped by the fact that they tabled the 5 to play 5 ruling.
Yes, correct.
Guys, we got a presser.
Ooh, do we? Where the hell? I can't even find it.
I'm gonna share it because it got posted 2 minutes ago, so it's not like it was sitting there long.
Oh,
I am gonna play the presser, and then we can give our reactions afterwards.
Good timing because we are running out of stuff to talk about.
I appreciate you guys coming out here and covering us. I know these trips aren't easy, and it does mean a lot to us to get you guys to cover us and get our word back to our fans. So thank you, appreciate it. Certainly, really, really proud of our players, our coaches, and really everybody associated with the program. It's been a tough stretch. I'm not a big believer in should have won this or should have won that. There's one winner and there's one loser. So do we have our feelings about some of the games we've lost? Yeah, but doesn't matter, you know. And today I was really proud of our program, everybody, the way they chopped. Every time we got a little momentum, it felt like we lost it, you know. And but that's the true test. You know, we do something in the winter called mat drills, which is a real hard conditioning, mental toughness. We call it chop training. That today the whole game felt like mat drills, but it's great for our players. It's a life lesson, right? When things aren't going your way and things are going against you, and you just keep going. Right? And I've always told them the same thing. I can't guarantee you that it's going to work if you do what I ask you to do, but I can guarantee it won't work if you don't. And these guys, I'm really proud of them. So try to answer your questions.
Very emotional at the end of the game. Just what was going through your mind? What were you thinking? What were you feeling as you see the ball go through the upright?
You know, I just wanted these kids and the coaches, I got to tell you, the staff, everybody who works their tail off. I've had success. You know, I wanted it for those players so badly because they have not balked at one thing we've asked them to do. And, you know, you lose 4 games in a row. I mean, that's hard. With a bye week in there. I mean, that's a long stretch. And there's reasons that people can start to say, why should I do that? And are we perfect? No, but I am so proud of the way that they just kept chopping. And that's why I was, you know, and I can't lie either. This may be the hardest I've worked in a week of football in my life. So when that thing went through, I think the complete exhaustion hit me. I can't wait to hit the plane and go to sleep.
Jay Patel's obviously he's had some tough moments this season. I guess to see him come through like that in high pressure situations late in that game, what was that like for you? Because I know how much, you know, you've talked him through this.
Again, it's like there's a lot of those examples out there that of guys that just kept, you know, sounds cliche, right, but kept chopping. You know, Jay had some struggles, and to go out there and make them and clutch situation like that, really, really happy for him. You know, happy for his development, and I think this will help him.
You mentioned this is the hardest week you've had, you know, in football. Just can you take us through what you did this week and how involved you were with the defense today? It looked like you were more talking to them on the sideline and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that go into being a head coach. You know, nothing stops just because you're losing. Recruiting doesn't stop. NIL doesn't stop. None of that stuff stops. Your offense, your special teams, kids' problems. You know, guys, when you have, you know, whatever it is, 200 people that you're responsible, maybe more, think about how many issues come up on a daily basis. And as the head coach, that's your job. So to handle all that and then take on a little maybe additional responsibilities or more time, really. All the work, guys, so the work gets done Sunday through Friday, or really Sunday through Saturday, right up through. But you know, the other stuff, the game itself is the culmination of all that work. So that's kind of what I mean. There's some late nights trying to just get it down to bare bones and see if we can't just go play really hard. We made mistakes today, believe me, but there were some things that we did. You know, 1 for 9 on third down. I mean, that's the game. You stop them on third down, you get off the field. You know, we've had trouble doing that. And then the last, you know, at the end, getting off the field. You look at offensively, I mean, it was bombs away. You know, the guy I'm really super proud of is Sean Benjamin. I mean, there's a guy who chopped. He very easily could have said, well, you got Sam Brown here, you got Antoine. I'm gonna go somewhere else. And he and I had a really, really pointed conversation last year, and I told him, you stay here, and I guarantee you're going to be a really good player. I can't tell you how happy I am for him trusting us and then him going out and doing it. So those are the things that keep you coaching, you know.
Clarify, were you calling defensive plays?
I'm not going to get into who was calling what. We worked at it together, and literally that sounds like a cop-out. Literally that was like a staff meeting during the game with the players. It felt like a defensive meeting during the game. The thing that I was so pleased with is how everybody just put their egos aside and worked together. Coach Smith, Coach Sparber, the whole defensive staff. Everybody just look, we got a job to get done, and were we perfect? No, but improved, and now we got to take another step. We're playing a really good Illinois team next week, and we have to continue to, you know, our big thing, as you know, is incremental improvement. We have to continue to get better every day. You let a day go by where you don't get better, it's a waste.
Time for 2 more. What was it like to see KJ have a game like that with over 200 receiving yards, and then I guess how close did Ian get to being able to play?
Ian gave it every try he could. You know, he didn't practice, and that was on purpose. We thought maybe if we just rested, got blood in there, did some things in, you know, treatment and Alter G and all that stuff, that maybe he gave it the try in pregame, but it's not time yet. So I'm hopeful we can get him back next week. But you never know. Those are tricky things, especially at that position, you know. Really proud of KJ. I kind of feel like there was a part of Ian out there playing with him today, though. I mean, those guys are, you know, locked. And, but, yeah, we're fortunate to have KJ here.
You mentioned it when you're in 4-game losing streak, things can be wobbly, you guys kept going. But did you feel like today was a potential turning point where, you know, now this could rejuvenate the team, and if things had gone the other way, things could have. Were you worried about that? Did you think this game was a pivotal moment in the season in that sense? Where
the reality, no, I don't, because I think these kids and these coaches, they believe so strongly in what we do. I think they would have just kept fighting. But man alive, you know, it keeps putting more and more strain on them. And the fact that they got rewarded for what they did. I mean, we're talking about inches, right? And so many times the difference between winning and losing is inches. So, but if you keep going, you keep chopping, you have a chance to get the inch, and that's what they did. Yeah, I'm proud of them. Thanks, guys.
Little Al Pacino quote there.
Which one?
Game of inches. It's a difference between winning and losing. It's a game of any given Sunday. Great movie.
Yeah, that was I guess not unexpected in the things that Greg chose to say and not say. I think it was pretty clear that he was calling the plays, but he's not going to obviously say that. I think it's a little disingenuous to say that like this didn't kind of represent a turning point of the season potentially. This is not any other game. Like Rutgers is very rarely a road favorite in the Big Ten. I know that it closed at a different number. That's primarily because Ryan Brown was expected to play, but this is not the same as going on the road to Illinois and losing or whatever. It's not the same table stakes as going on the road to another team in the Big Ten. So I think you're muted, Rich.
Whatever you're saying, I'm sure it's
yes.
great points.
Oh, it was amazing. It was actually the best thing I ever said in my entire life. Now, I just wish he would have just said he was calling plays. Like, it was pretty obvious. Like, even Yogi Roth called it out. He's like, yeah, you could see him hitting the headset to talk to probably the quarterback or the linebacker, whoever's wearing it. I think it was Abram Wright today.
Yep.
But yeah, like just say it. But either way, I mean, definitely very emotional still. You could see it and hear it in his voice too.
Yep. But nothing groundbreaking there. Interesting thing, it sounds like Ian Strong was he's almost ready to play, so I wouldn't expect him to miss Illinois outside of a setback this week in practice, or say in practice, assuming he practices. But
Yeah.
since Greg said it, I feel good to comment on it. Like, you guys saw that he wasn't practicing this week, so it wasn't a surprise that he didn't play. But I think next week is a game that we could possibly expect to see him back. Would you agree?
Yeah, if I had to guess, it's probably still that ankle injury from earlier in the year, and that's why you don't really want to practice on something like that. He even said it, so we could talk about it. But like, I don't feel like if it's an ankle, they're so tricky that like one wrong turn in practice and you're re-aggravating the shit out of it. And like, hell, he was dressed in warm-ups, like warming up too. Like,
Yeah, I mean, that was also the part with it. If he's still kind of healing from the one that he suffered earlier on this season, getting rolled up on makes it that much worse as a re-aggravation as well. So yeah, just keep him out, like Schiano said, like see if it heals, get some treatment on it. And obviously it did not go that way today, but yeah, definitely go all in for trying to make it out to Champaign next week.
Yep. That's a game that Rutgers certainly could win. They're playing at Washington right now, so they're going to be on a weird week in general. We talked about this already, but Schiano gave a big shout out to Sean Benjamin, who really did have an outstanding game today outside of that missed blitz pickup. I think 78 yards on like 9 carries, hella efficient. He just really kind of saved us through the middle part of that game when it seemed like, I don't know if, Antoine Raymond just didn't have it early in the game, but he was just getting stopped at the line over and over. And then the change of pace with Deshaun was a welcomed addition to the offense. And hopefully we keep seeing that, because, I mean, how many times did they hype up Deshaun Benjamin the last few years? And obviously he redshirted last year, but when CJ Campbell,
especially this year.
Yeah, when CJ Campbell went down, we didn't play him at all for a few games, which made no sense. But love to see it from Deshaun.
Yeah, I don't think people understand like how close a lot of these guys are to leaving in off seasons, and like he's one that he definitely could have went down to a lower level and played significant snaps. He could have went back down to Florida and hit like an FAU, FIU, or any of those guys and played a full-fledged starter, but decided to stick it out, and it pays off sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. So,
anything else that stood out from that presser?
I mean, really, the only thing for me is that he like admitted that Strong didn't practice. That was kind of it. A lot of the usual things that we hear from Schiano. Of course, I did not expect him to answer. Obviously, it was a question you got to ask. I did not expect him to answer, if he was or wasn't calling plays on the defensive side. I thought it was interesting. You mentioned like even during the game, it was like a team meeting throughout, just a whole team effort, all that stuff. But it did seem like it was Schiano that was, actually doing the play calling. So I'm wondering how that kind of dynamic went down, whether he was letting on a little bit more, whether he was underplaying his role, where it's just him calling the plays, or if there really was that type of like collaborative thing, how that works, things like that. Other than that, not too groundbreaking, I'll say.
So we're at an hour and 20 minutes here. I think we've kind of covered almost everything. You guys have any final thoughts before we head out of here tonight?
Let's see. Not really. I mean, win's a win. This is a big bounce back for Rutgers. Couldn't afford to lose it, as you could tell by some reactions and stuff. But get back on track, and bowl games still there for the taking. You just got to get out there and see if they have a healthy enough team next week to do so.
Is it time to buy some train tickets into the city?
Ooh, well, you can
Head
just
up
do that
on the B or the D or the 4 train to the Bronx in about 2 months.
Oh yeah, let's just clarify. If they make a bowl, they're 110% going to the Bronx. Like I think everyone kind of understands that, right?
Not the Game Above Sports.com bowl.
No one wants to go to fucking Detroit the day after Christmas.
Yeah, I don't even think. No thanks.
I mean, as much as it sucks to like play at that stadium in terms of playing football, like at least like we have a pretty sizable attendance advantage. Like I don't necessarily mind it unless you're playing in like the Outback Bowl or something like that. I'd rather play there than the whatever they call that, bowl in Detroit the day after Thanksgiving or the day after
That's
Christmas or
the
like
game above
Game.
sports bowl.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, I mean, some might not enjoy it if they have to broadcast the game from a baseball broadcast booth where you're looking straight down the field. That makes it a little bit more difficult.
Buys
Sure.
our press box seats. They're awful. They're behind the home plate. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like it makes sense for a Yankees game, not so much for a football game. One of these days, Rutgers will get a bowl game that isn't in a baseball stadium.
So how about this? We Rutgers versus Clemson in Pinstripe Bowl.
That'd be fun.
Oof, that would be something.
Rutgers
You gotta-
versus Fran Brown, Syracuse. They gotta win a couple more games still. They're struggling.
Ooh,
That would be
spicy.
in
That
New
would be a lot
York
of fun.
too. I
Yeah.
think
Oh,
that
man,
you
the
would get a
Pinstripe Bowl-
nice crowd.
Pinstripe Bowl executives would be all over that matchup.
Yeah, they'd be gushing over that matchup.
I'm trying to think who else. Bill Belichick, but he just lost on a.
Yeah, they lost to Virginia. So their bowl hopes are on the fringe right now.
Did you see the play though? He this close to getting in on overtime.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
a Michael Penix all over again, except the bowl was just a few inches shy of the pylon.
I'm trying to think who
Image.
else.
I mean, let's take we're going fully off the rails here. Let's take a look at the ACC standings right now.
No, I'm looking at them. They're not pretty. There's not like there's only one team that's below or two teams that are
Cal?
below.
Bring Cal if they suffer a few more
God.
losses. That's kind of selfish of me because I want to see Jaron Kioe Sagapulitele with my own two eyes because that kid is electric.
Or just be miserable and play Virginia Tech again.
Yeah, that's true. Or Wake Forest, they're 5-2. Yeah,
Another repeat bowl.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, Rutgers has played in a baseball stadium bowl game, Pinstripe Bowl 3 times, the Rate Bowl last year, the Insight Bowl. The Insight
Twice,
Bowl was
technically.
right. That's the Rate Bowl and the Insight Bowl.
Yeah.
The St. Petersburg Bowl. And I think
good
I got
call.
all of them that have been in baseball stadiums.
Yeah.
So like
And
6 of their 10 bowl games in history.
It's
have
been
been
in a baseball stadium. Yeah.
stadiums.
You thought the field was bad today. Wait till December in the Bronx.
Yeah, wait till you're
Yeah, oh,
rounding
man.
third trying to score that touchdown.
That I remember, like the jerseys were absolutely filthy
Oh yeah.
mhm.
after that game.
They need to get rid of that bowl game.
Hey, if Rutgers is in it, they'll be bringing in the cash.
Yeah, Alec, the Beefo Brady Bowl.
Yeah, come on, put some
Yeah,
respect on the defunct
yeah.
bowl game.
Yes, the beef.
Oh.
Okay, it is.
Oh, we
it's
got
defunct.
Well, we
we
got
got an
a
attendee of the game coming in at the last second here. Rutgers Hall of Famer Kevin Fine. K-Fine, what's going
Wow,
on?
huge.
Did I miss the whole show?
It's okay.
No, the show just started with you.
Run it back. Yeah, run it all back for
Run
me.
it back. What's going on, man? How was the in-game experience at Purdue today?
It's fun. I mean, obviously, we have the house divided situation today. So we had a nice tailgate at Jake's house. He broke. We cut through Mackey to get into the stadium, and it's kind of like it really is almost like mirror image fan bases. Like literally, the guys behind me were like, our team is buns, but I think we could actually stick with this team today. I was like, all right. I was like, that's the kind of attitude you need, and that's what it was like. Everybody. It was kind of like I saw a bunch of people that I know, kind of like from my area, that were Purdue grads, and they're like, yeah, I guess we're gonna stay for the second half. I was like, there you go. That's what was the whole goal of the day, was to get some entertainment. But yeah, I mean, and then the text from my buddy at the end, we just out Rutgers at the end there. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no clearer way than the way that thing wrapped up. But it's a nice stadium. It's a good crowd. For how they're playing. To kind of get that crowd that gets in there on time. It's a pretty good environment if they can just kind of figure out how to throw and catch a little better. But
I gotta ask,
we
was
had fun.
Jake one of the Purdue students wearing the shark outfits? Because there was a lot of those.
Jake was not. Jake was in Purdue again. Those are. I don't know if it was already covered. I know Adam Nachman kind of mentioned it on one of the other discords, but those are known as Tark's Sharks. So Tarkington is well known on campus as the absolute worst dormitory. So those kids kind of show their badge of honor. They all get the baby shark costume, and that's their thing. So not only do you have the crappiest dorm, but you got to show up in a Halloween costume every week.
So it's basically the Broward Commons rest in peace of Purdue dorms, is what you're saying.
Are you going to go Broward Commons or Davidson? There's good debate to be had there. But that's the nature of the story behind those things.
What about the train horn? Because that seemed really annoying on
Today
TV.
was, it's funny because being away from you guys and listening to you, but I could always tell that when you would hear it on TV, like that is asinine how much Rutgers was playing it.
Yeah.
Today was, and what's funny is this wasn't even like the highest level that they've been at. Like there was like one UCLA game where they laid on the horn for like literally 90 seconds straight. They have show no quarter with the horn. And there was one moment, there was all kinds of technical glitches today, it seemed like, in the stadium. I'm just saying all the nice things about the stadium,
yeah,
but
the clock
the
wasn't working, right?
The clock stopped working with 2:14 in the third, and they announced we're going to keep it, we're going to keep time on the field. And then all of a sudden we turned around. I was like, oh, yeah, that's the end of the third quarter. And like everybody around was like, recount. Who's to say? So that was the one thing. At one point, the scoreboard, they couldn't get the score right after Purdue went ahead. They threw points on top of Rutgers' score to get to 27. Then all of a sudden, Purdue had 116. It was 116 to 27 at one point.
Jeez.
So yeah, there was a couple glitches here and there, and then at one point, I noticed for like 5 minutes when the horn was the worst, their PA system cut out for about 5 minutes. I was like, okay, we haven't gotten any updates whatsoever, so I guess I better be paying attention to down and distance on my own. So yeah,
that's crazy.
It's funny with all this technology and all these big boards. It's, they still can't keep it all together. Though I will say, the game stats that they keep on their big screen, maybe it's maybe it's not a good thing to have that, but like that's where at one point we're just staring at it, and it's like you see 509 yards staring at you and you see 21 points. Like this isn't working out so well. But
story of our season is a lot of empty calories. You got somebody in the chat who had a message for you, Kevin. Somebody said baby Happy is gonna beat your ass the next time he sees you. Does that mean anything to you?
Tell Happy to bring it on. I'll choke him out. Tell Parisi I'm coming after him next time I see him.
All right, you hear that, Lenny? You got some beef now. Somebody's coming after you.
Good stuff.
He's been fighting off some haters in the chat the entire show tonight.
That's on brand.
Yeah. What do you think the rest of the season? Give us your bold prediction.
I think I got the green light. I think Jake and I are going to rustle up some corner tickets for Illinois. So, I mean, if I'm right now, I'm one for one, or 1-1 games I've attended. So, I mean, let's see if I can get above 500 and see if we can take out Illinois. I don't know. How good are they? I mean, really? I mean, they got the edge on us, but I mean, I don't know. Can we just contain the edge? I mean, if play another game of defense and figure out how to score 35 points, I think we can play with Illinois. And then let's see what happens. I mean, I'm all in. Let's get to a bowl game, 6-6. This is what it's all about. It's Rutgers football.
I'm here. I'm with you, man. Like they do not. We match up better with Illinois than the majority of the top half of the Big Ten.
Yes,
just because they're like a little bit better version of what we do. They have a better
Well said,
defense.
Michael. It is a game of matchups in that one.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to your breakdowns throughout the week.
Yeah, we will definitely have you guys covered there. We'll be back on Monday with our Around the Big Ten recap. We'll have
Tuesday.
a game preview Tuesday. What's going on Monday, Rich? You got
we
some
just don't.
obligations?
We just don't do Greg Schiano
that's right.
pressers
Greg
on
is
Monday.
Schiano.
That's right. It's now
Just schedule.
shifted to Tuesday, which makes sense for the American work week. You know, Mondays are rough. So really, you should have that meeting on Tuesday. Let's be honest.
And then we'll have a game preview with an Illinois writer as well. But we'll let you have the final word here, Mr. Rutgers fan Hall
Okay.
of Famer.
Mike, you guys send me your address because I've got
A
collector's cup. I've got a collector's cup
God, no.
from the stadium that needs to just grace your shelf. It's on one of the stray discords. You can see what you're getting. You're gonna love it.
Jeez.
Mike
for those who
Broadbent,
don't
a
know,
known proponent of souvenir cups.
Yeah,
Oh, wait till you see this one, Mike. You gotta have this one.
Boy.
All right,
I'll,
guys.
I'll send you a message.
Go Rutgers. We're getting into Indianapolis.
Let's do it.
All right.
Well, thanks for everybody who's called in. Thanks to everybody who's liked, rated, reviewed, done all the helpful things for the pod. I'll let you guys give your final word. My final word is this was a step that needed to happen to keep the season on track, and they did it. As ugly as it was, it got done. Rich, what is your final word on today?
I know it might be, I think if I'm correct here, the curse of the black helmet, black pants combo is over. I think that's their first win in that exact combo because they've worn it a couple times in the past couple of years. It's always been pretty rough, but I think that's it. I think they finally broke the curse there. Now they can wear them more often and piss off half the fan base still because they're the Scarlet Knights. They're not the Black Knights. That's Army, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's a sick looking uniform too. But yeah, the curse is broken. Huge win. Greg Schiano's job. Safe. Rob Smith. Who knows? Rumor mill will keep on churning.
All I'll say is sometimes you got to find a way to find a way. And Rutgers found a way today. So we'll see if they can parlay it into some success. They got some tough games up ahead. We'll have to wait and see if winning is contagious this time around like it has been in the last few years.
Speaking of parlays, to close it out, visit FanDuel to get some good bets in this weekend. You get some profit boost tokens. There's a profit boost for tomorrow. There's no London games anymore. There's no Europe games. Rather, they're still on the schedule. There's none this week, I should say. But they always have some great island game bonuses. But Rutgers gets the win. They get off the schneid. Positive vibes going into Illinois. It'll be a tough game, but one that I don't think Rutgers is dead in the water against, we'll say. But for me and Alec and Richie, thanks everybody for joining. This has been another edition of the Night Report Postgame Live Edition. Signing off.
Go Giants.